All right, Tina Turner shot Randy Jackson after he broke into her home to reach his girlfriend. We covered this a couple years back. Let's go over it again. Why not? Randy shared this side of the story in a series of tweets on Twitter in July of 2011, later deleting them. He said, "This is something many of you probably don't know. Yes, Tina Turner shot me. I have the scar to prove it. Having said that, there was no evidence, there was no violence on my part, nor have I ever owned or carried a weapon. I went to Tina's house to see my girlfriend. I guess I caught them off guard. Next question. Yes, Tina Turner shot me. I have the scar. Okay. It was in the 80s, and I don't hold a grudge against Tina. She's a great artist and asset to our industry." Okay. Yes, Tina was bisexual. Yes. All right. So Tina's former personal assistant, Eddie Hampton Armani, detailed his version of events in 88. In a state of distress, begging to see Tina, was Craig's ex-fiancee, Bernardet Roby. Bernardet explained to Tina why she had arrived unannounced. "I've been dating Michael Jackson's brother, Randy." Tina cut her off by saying, "Bernardet, why do you keep messing with Randy Jackson? And why didn't you phone me and tell me all this stuff before? I haven't called you because Randy is insanely jealous. I mean, crazy, because you and me are so close. He kept accusing me of having an affair with you and said he'd kill me if he found out I saw or spoke to you. I told him you and me are like family, and that his accusations were totally untrue. I don't know. He just has this thing in his head." Bernadette sipped some water and continued, "As long as he was still living with his girlfriend, things were fine. But as soon as his girlfriend left him and moved out, Randy became more possessive than ever. Once we started being together on a full-time basis, I saw the other side of him. He started grabbing me by my arm and shaking me. He never beat me, but I sensed it might happen soon, and he really scared me. Anyway, we got into a big argument today, and he went all wild-eyed. He walked towards me, looking like he was going to kill me. I got shit scared and ran for my life, and here I am." Jesus, Lord have mercy. This was back in 93. I saw Tina shoot Jacko's brother. Singer fired at Randy in her garden. Jeez. Bernadette's eyes were now red from crying, and she asked Tina if she could use the phone. Tina replied, "Don't call him. Don't, you poor girl. All I see is me. This is the way I used to look. Why don't you want the phone to ring Randy?" "No, I won't call him." She fidgeted for a moment and asked, "Tina, can I go to the kitchen and get something to eat?" "Sure, Bernadette. You know where everything is. Make yourself at home." As soon as Bernadette stepped out of the room, Tina whispered to Lejeune and me, "She's not getting anything from the kitchen. She's going to phone Randy." Mark my words. I know, because I used to do the same thing with Ike. Just watch the phone. You'll see the light will go on. Wow. We all stared at the phone, and 5 seconds later, the button illuminated. Tina slapped her thigh, exclaiming, "What did I tell you? I knew she'd phone him. I knew it. Poor girl, I used to do the same thing with Ike. When the light went off, we scampered back to what we were doing so Bernadette wouldn't know we were any of the wiser." She walked into the bedroom and everyone started talking. Finally, a little shamefaced, Bernadette looked down at her slim fingers and admitted, I phoned Randy when I went to the kitchen. Randy's got a lot of emotional problems. His family's crumbling fast. They're all at each other's throats since Michael split from the family. And there's some things about Randy that are weird. He's a little sick sexually." We all gave Bernadette our undivided attention as she told us of her sex life with Randy. When she told us what he made her do sexually, we all paled. I actually had to sit down for a moment because the details made me feel ill. I could practically see Tina's skin crawling, her voice hoarse with distress. She said to Bernadette, "Why, girl? Why do you go along with it? Why do you do it?" Tina took a few moments to recompose herself, but she still sounded a little shocked as she added, "Bernadette, you have to get rid of that man. You just got to." I want to know what he made her do. What did he make her do? Okay, wait. Let's continue. We were all snapped out of our state of shock by the ringing of the phone. I answered the call to find Randy Jackson on the line, and Tina flipped. "Damn it, Bernadette, why did you give that sick bastard my phone number?" Bernadette ran to the kitchen to take the call in privacy while Tina twitched with anger and nerves. Suddenly, we could hear Bernadette screaming, "Randy, I'm not coming back. You lied and lied and lied to me." Bernadette returned to the bedroom, shaking, her face twitching with fear, her voice shaking. She said, "I can't go back to him. He knows my every movement. He follows and stalks me. I mean, I can come out of a food store or the gym and he'll be there. hiding behind something, just watching. She rubbed the goosebumps on her arms and said, he phones around and checks up on me to see if I'm where I said I was going, and he picks and chooses who I'm allowed to see. The phone rang again, and Tina grabbed it calmly but firmly, stating, do not phone my house again. Bernadette is a guest in my home, and I won't have you intruding. She does not want to speak to you tonight, and I'm sure you two can sort things out tomorrow. Meantime, you are not welcome to phone my home. She slammed the receiver down. An hour and a half passed. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. We all glanced at each other. I pressed the buzzer, asking who was there. The uninvited visitor replied, this is Randy Jackson. Is Bernadette there? I replied, she's not here. She's left. Randy frantically replied, I know she's there. I know she is. I've got to see her. I got to come in. Holy cow. Tina threw the towel that was on her lap onto the floor and sprung out of her dressing table seat. She wagged an angry finger at Bernadette while announcing, I'm not having this. I'm not having it. Do you understand? This is my house, my home. I went through all this with Ike, and I'm not having it again. She pounced on the intercom button and barked, you ring my buzzer one more time and I'll call the police. You are to leave my property immediately. Tina slowly paced her bedroom with her arms folded across her chest. I knew she was silently chanting to herself to calm her anger. She let out a few deep breaths and paused in front of the vast sliding glass doors, the light from her bedroom casting her shadow onto the garden of her dream home. Bernadette, I don't know why you keep messing with these guys. After all the things you've seen and all the things I've told you. Bernadette quietly wept and mopped the tears from the corners of her eyes while Tina delivered a stern lecture. So why did you bother with him in the first place? Because he's Michael Jackson's brother? That doesn't mean anything. That Randy Jackson's no good. He's like any other man getting their kicks scaring women. And you put up with him running his mouth all over town saying you and I are lesbian lovers. But I was always hearing that though. So, wow. Who does he think he is? And you gave him my phone number and address. How dare he keep pressing my intercom? If he presses that intercom one more time, I'll call the police. He better get off my property. Bernadette, let me tell you something. You've got yourself an Ike Turner there. You better get rid of him. I know you're scared. Tina was furious and she threw her hands up in disgust. I know what it's like, Bernadette. It's best you stay here tonight. Just make sure you get rid of that Randy Jackson first thing tomorrow. But no sooner had Tina spoken than the noisy shuffling of footsteps could be heard outside. I paused and watched her from across the bedroom. The worry on her face was unmistakable. Bernadette had already scared the daylights out of us with her horrifying stories of Randy's violence. Lejeune and Tina remained still and silent as the intrusive sounds outside continued. There was a momentary eeriness. And then, without warning, one of Tina's huge treasured terracotta pots being thrown through the glass doors exploding on impact. Shards of razor glass sprayed like darts throughout the bedroom. There was soil and terracotta everywhere. Everything else that followed seemed to happen so quickly. Randy leapt through the broken window and paused for a moment, breathing and sweating heavily. Then, as he moved, glass fragments on Tina's plush cream carpet could be heard scrunching beneath his hard, determined steps. He seemed possessed, and his wild eyes rapidly scanned the bedroom. It only took a split second to focus on what he had come for. Like an animal stalking prey, he walked towards Bernadette, muttering like a crazy man about how much he loved and needed her. In all the years I had spent with Tina, she had drilled me over and over on certain safety procedures should an intruder gain entry into her home. We had always thought if it happened, it would be her ex-husband, Ike. On this particular day, we were wrong. Worse still, everyone froze in shock, forgetting Tina's meticulous safety drill. Jesus Christ. Then, the only one to spring into action was Tina herself. She calmly and purposely walked into the bedroom, where her eyes immediately darted to the framed pictures on her bedside table where she laid her loaded handgun. Without looking away from the table, her hand whipped out with shocking speed and grabbed a second gun, a shotgun from behind the freestanding oval antique mirror just next to her. She cocked the weapon and then turned and aimed the loaded barrel at Randy Jackson's head. Her body stiff and her aim steady, and she said with true determination, freeze or I'll blow your brains out. Randy did stop, but only for a split second, locking eyes with Tina. He ignored her warning and lunged for Bernadette. Tina, still several feet away from Randy, raised the gun and blew a hole in the ceiling. Randy, his face a mask of brutality, charging straight at Tina like a raging bull. Still in control, Tina moved the barrel slightly to the side and fired towards the doorway. She pointed the gun at Randy. Randy, suddenly terrified, leapt through the broken windows, fleeing for his life. There was a silence as we all stood, shocked by the scene we had just witnessed. Then Bernadette snapped out of her trance and raced in hot pursuit of her lover. Tina Lejeune and I stood in stark amazement, listening to the voices in the distance. Bernadette's voice was breathless and tearful as she professed her love and loyalty to Randy. Only then did Tina's body start shaking, and although in shock, she had presence of mind to press the panic button beside her bed. Jeezy Pete. What in the complete hell? Over the next few minutes, none of our eyes met. We couldn't believe what had just happened. Like zombies, we stepped over the debris of the elegant bedroom, which now appeared as if a bomb had hit it. Barely able to breathe, we all sat on the bed, completely stunned. It wasn't until we heard the police sirens in the distance that we were jolted back to reality. Tina, still slightly dazed, nervously ran her sweating palms down her thighs, smoothing the fabric of her designer knit sweatsuit. She glanced at herself in the mirror and took several deep breaths, calming herself. Then she held her head high and adjusted the towel tightly wrapped over her hair in readiness to deal with the uninformed officers. After the police took their report and asked Tina if she would press charges, they left us to get on with the task of clearing away the debris, not to mention the fact that we still had a long way to go in finishing Tina's hair. Randy phoned to apologize to Tina, but she said, "I have nothing to say to you. Don't ever use my number again. I have given the police all the details they need to contact you." Then she puts the phone down. Bernadette phoned too and apologized over and over, begging Tina not to press charges on Randy, while an emergency service busied themselves boarding up and temporarily making safe the door of Tina's bedroom. Tina coldly told Bernadette on the phone, "Bernadette, I can no longer have you around me. As long as you have this guy in your life, I don't want to know you." Goosebumps raced over my arms. I knew when Tina cut a person out of her life, she meant it. I had been the rare exception. The following day, a man arrived with an envelope with several $1,000s in it, sent from Randy Jackson to cover expenses due to the damage caused by his breaking and entering. Tina refused the cash, firmly saying, "I don't do things this way. My assistant will give you my accountant's details and monies can be sent to them or a check and they will give a receipt." Tina, after discussing things with Roger, her manager, decided not to press charges. Roger very rightly felt that Tina's reputation would be damaged and people might think she was like Ike Turner. By not pressing charges, it did not make the newspapers, and the incident became a matter of police record. Over the next couple of days, we put our lives back in order. Tina put the incident behind her, and along with it, Bernadette became a thing of the past. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So what did we learn here? Don't get involved with people's affairs because she typically goes back to the guy. And, women are just hella messy. Bernadette later married Sugar Ray Leonard in 93 after being introduced to him in 89 by Kenny G at a Luther Vandross concert. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Also, if you have friends that are in situations like this, you got to walk away from them to protect your peace. Protect your peace. So Tina did right. You going to keep going back to this man? Get away from me. Get away from me. Yeah. She did right. She did right. Holy cow.